Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a Q&A video about me and whatever questions you guys had from Instagram about me and what you wanted to know and everything like that. So basically I decided to come way out into the middle of the woods. Actually, I wouldn't really say middle of the woods. I'm kind of right by a road, so you guys might be hearing some cars or motorcycles go by. But it's a beautiful day outside, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different and just something more exciting than just sitting on my bed at home, you know, in the studio space. So yeah, I decided to come out here, set up the hammock, chill a little bit, and talk to you guys and answer some of your questions that you guys asked from Instagram. Okay, so the first question came from Han Rome on Instagram. He's an 18-year-old photographer in Germany, and he asked me the big one to start off: how did I get into photography? Basically, I got into photography after my first big trip overseas with my dad. We went to the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador and a whole entire tour throughout Peru. We ended the tour in Peru with a few days in the Peruvian Amazon. So there, on our boat ride up the Amazon, we were on the same boat as another tour that was heading up to the same lodge that we were going to, and that was a wildlife photography tour run by a guy named Jeff Kramer. He's a professional wildlife photographer, mainly based in the Amazon region, and he had this huge 600mm lens, and I was sitting up in the front of the boat next to him, and I was spotting all the animals on the sides of the river as we were taking our boat ride to the lodge. And so I gradually just got to know the guy more and more, and we got to be friends during this tour. And our 3 or 4 days that we had in that lodge in the Amazon, I kind of ended up tagging along onto a bunch of the wildlife photography tour with him. We went to same spots. I was just on a travel tour with my dad. So I ended up watching him edit photos and take photos and see how to use the camera and everything like that. And that really got me into photography. As soon as I got home from that trip, I went out and bought a camera and a lens, and I had a photographer who owns the local camera store teach me all the basics of photography. And this all happened the summer right before 8th grade. So then during 8th grade, I ended up practicing more and more photography. And going into high school, I actually went into every single photography class that we had offered at our high school, and that just got me more and more hooked. Okay, question number 2 comes from my friend Jeremy Gray. He has a YouTube channel. I'll link it below, and he asked me, what's my biggest fear while traveling that's not theft or my gear breaking? And for me, I don't really have that many fears when it comes to traveling. It's mainly probably just like the logistical issues that would happen, and that would be something like I mix up a car reservation or a hotel reservation and I end up not having a rental car or not having a hotel room. And then another thing that kind of makes me nervous sometimes is just like the actual travel part of traveling. So when you're on the flights and things like that, I always have the worry that my luggage won't show up and I won't have any clothes for the trip. But I don't really have any big fears, so I'd probably just say like the little logistical issues when things don't really go according to plan. And don't get me wrong, I like going off my plan. I change my plans all the way throughout my New Zealand trip and things like that. It's just the plans in the beginning and the end of the trip that would possibly mess up the beginning or the end of the trip. Okay, the next question number 3, comes from my friend Nick Jones, who you've seen on the channel before, and we're making a video together next week, so that's gonna be going out next weekend, and I'll link his stuff down below as well. And he asked me, would you classify yourself as a landscape photographer or just a photographer? And for me, I would 100% just say a photographer. I actually don't want the title of a landscape photographer. I don't want the title of any type of photographer specifically because of the wide variety of photos I do take. I don't want to be kind of pushed into one theme. So I classify myself, if anything, as a travel photographer because that covers every single type of photography. And when you're traveling, you can take anything from landscapes to wildlife to people to cityscapes, anything. So I would definitely not say landscape photographer, and I would hope to not have that title in the future. Okay, question number 4 is from my friend Michaela, and she asked me, what is my go-to lens? And I have to say that is my 24-120 f4. This lens has been through hell and back. It just has such a wide versatility range. It has everything from 24, which is fairly wide angle, to 120, which is pretty zoomed in. And you can get a huge variety of shots and different angles with this lens. It also has f4, which is a pretty low aperture and does fairly good in low light. And like I said, this lens has been through everything. It desperately needs to be cleaned. There's even a chip on one of the edges here from where I slipped and fell on ice and broke it. Luckily, I didn't crack the glass or anything, but hopefully I'll be upgrading this soon. And I don't know if I'm gonna get the same lens, just a new one, or something else. So question number 5 comes from Faith Davis, and she asked me what camera and lens would I recommend for someone who's looking to get into photography. And for me, I'm gonna go with Nikon because I've always been shooting Nikon. I do have a Canon just for video, but I've never done Canon for photos. So I'm just gonna suggest the Nikon, and you can always find the Canon or Sony equivalent of it. But I would say the Nikon D5600. And so that is one step above their entry-level camera. And it has a flip-out screen, which is super helpful for any situation. And regarding the lens, I would also say the kit lens, not the 18 to 55 kit lens. I would say the 18 to 140 kit lens. So that is very similar focal length to this 24 to 120. And it just gives you a wide variety of shots from wide angle to zoomed in, and it'll definitely be good for you to figure out your type of shooting style before you invest in some more lenses or a better camera. Okay, so next question number 6, comes from my good friend Philip, who you've again seen on this channel, and he's been making some awesome videos lately. So definitely go check him out. I'll put his link down in the description. And he asked me what has changed the most about my photography style over the years. And to start off, I definitely gotta say just my subjects in general. When I first started photography, I had nothing man-made or any human element in any single photo. But now, as I've grown as a photographer, I've realized that you can add a person or a building or something like that into photos to give it a different element and to make the photo more dynamic. Along with the subject change, I would also say that my editing has changed dramatically over the years. In the beginning of photography, I used to just edit a photo a little bit, get rid of some dust spots and change it a tiny bit, but now I can play with a photo for hours to get it how I want. And I think that is constantly changing. I don't think I will ever have a set style for editing. It's just kind of how I feel for each photo. Since every single photo you take is different, it can always take a different amount of editing or a different style to achieve what you want. Okay, the next question comes from my friend Jason, and he asked me, what is your greatest accomplishment in both life and photography and why? And that is a really tough question. This sounds a little sad, but it's not, because I am only 20 years old still. But I don't think I've accomplished that much in life in general. However, that being said, my greatest accomplishment in life for myself would probably be the fact that I dropped out of college to pursue my dream of becoming a photographer. If I didn't do that and my life went a different way, I think that I would just be forever missing something, and I would have probably always regretted my decision to not chase my dream as a photographer. And so my greatest accomplishment in photography has got to be when I got my photo published in the Nikon Best of College and High School Photography book in 2015. And that was this photo of the golden eagle with the snake that I got in Tanzania. And that was on my first trip to Africa, and that was with my entry-level camera. So you can capture any image with any type of camera, that's for sure. Okay, like all the other questions, this question is kind of two mixed into one. So the first part is from my friend Philip, who asked me, and I quote, what is your favorite place that you've been? So I'm taking that as one singular location. And then my friend James Lynch asked me, what is your favorite trip that you've been on? So the first part, my favorite place has got to be the Serengeti in Tanzania. I absolutely love wildlife photography, and the pure abundance of it there is just unforgettable, and I would highly recommend going there. And then my greatest trip that I've been on, to answer James's question, has probably got to be the Patagonia trip in 2018 that kind of started this YouTube channel. Because of the sheer fact that I created so many connections and so many good friendships on that trip, I think that has the biggest impact on my photography career so far. And Patagonia in general was just an unbelievable place and probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Okay, so the next question comes from Zomer TIJD. He asked me which trip was better, Iceland or New Zealand? And I'm gonna take this, like every other question, in multiple different ways. I would say flat out for photography, definitely Iceland, because of the sheer abundance of awesome photography locations and just the breathtaking landscapes and everything like that. However, if you're looking for adventure and exploration, I would probably say New Zealand, because there's much more open space and more things to be discovered than Iceland, because Iceland has been photographed to death. Everybody sees photos from Iceland all the time, whereas New Zealand I think is a little bit more hidden, and there are definitely less tourists in New Zealand, so you can find your own shots and definitely get a different take on each photo rather than just taking the same photo that 100 other people have taken in Iceland. Okay, the next question is from Nolan, who again, you guys have seen on the channel before, a good friend of mine, and he asked me, what do I have planned in the future regarding trips and future purchases? So for trips, I would hope to, in the next year or so, reschedule that trip that I had to cancel about a month ago, the Utah and Arizona road trip with my friends from Patagonia. I'm not sure when that'll happen, hopefully in the fall or maybe next spring. But besides that, I don't really have any trips planned anytime soon. I do have a lot of frequent flyer miles, and I would hopefully like to be using those to go to take some more wildlife photos down in South Africa, maybe Tanzania, somewhere like that. So I'd like to get back to the continent of Africa with my next big trip. And then regarding future purchases, I'm not too sure because I don't have a lot of money right now to spend on camera gear, and I'm pretty happy with the camera gear that I have. However, I think my next purchases might have to be a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, because I think that lens would definitely get a lot of use for myself, and I think it would kind of replace the 24 to 120 that I have, that again I said is in kind of bad condition, and possibly to go along with that maybe a 24 to 70, so I get 2 of the 3 holy trinity. So those lenses are a bit expensive, so they might not be coming for a while, but in my head I would hope to be buying those lenses next. Okay, so the next question number 12, comes from a guy named Adam, or you might know him as Wadger Catcher. He has a YouTube channel and an Instagram. I'll link him down below as well. We kind of know each other through mutual friends, and we've been following each other for a while. So he asked me, where could I spend the rest of my life with my camera and never get bored? And I've got 2 answers for this. The first one is a realistic answer, and that would probably be Colorado. I've not really been to Colorado recently. However, it's kind of like the hub of the American West for photography that I can picture myself doing. It has wildlife, it has the Rocky Mountains, and it is a fairly central location that I could do a bunch of different photography road trips from there. And I just think it would be a great place to spend some time. My second answer, my unrealistic answer, because I think this would be a hard move to pull off in the future, but I would probably say somewhere in Southern Africa, maybe in Tanzania, Kenya, or South Africa itself. I just think that my true passion is wildlife photography, so I think that if I was based in those locations, it would be awesome for my photography. I would be happy all the time with wildlife, and I would never get bored of that because every single wildlife shoot you do is different. Also with that, you'd probably be off the grid a lot, so I'd be far away and disconnected from family and friends and everybody that I have here on the East Coast of the United States. So I think Colorado is more accessible and a little bit more realistic, and maybe I'll spend a year or 2 in Africa in the future because that would be a fun thing to do. Okay, so question number 13 comes from my friend Serge O'Sullivan, and he asked me, where do I see myself in 5 years? And that's kind of a tough question, but going off the back of the last question, I would probably hope to be somewhere in the West, maybe in Colorado, and I'd be close to you, Serge, in Montana. So hopefully I'd have an apartment as part of a home base 5 years from now with my girlfriend Jen, because she's been slightly talking about going to Colorado after her time in grad school and if her job takes her out there. So I think that would be a realistic move for both of us, and we could get a small apartment out there and have that as our home base. And then regarding photography and my business, hopefully I would be able to travel a lot more than I am now and get sponsorships or get hired to do different travel photography in different locations. And that would be amazing if my photography could pay for my travel bills, because then I could travel a lot more and just keep doing what I love. And finally, question number 14 comes from my friend Marcus. He just got back from an awesome trip to New Zealand, Australia, and Southern Africa. So I'll link him below as well. He's got some awesome photos, check him out. And he asked me, why did I make this YouTube channel and what are my future plans for it? And so the main reason that I made this YouTube channel, like the first month or two, was just to get myself into video making. And I was roommates with my friend Nick at the time in college, and we were both getting into video at the same time. I just wanted to expand my skill set because I think as a career, knowing how to take video and photo is very beneficial, and it could get you hired for a lot more projects. And then after that initial burst of just trying to get into filmmaking, I definitely kept making videos because I wanted to share and maybe inspire some of you guys who are watching, because that would just make me so happy if I would be the reason that someone's getting into photography or chasing their dreams like I have been. Something like that would be amazing to know. So if you are, or if you are influenced by me at all, definitely let me know in the comments. And then another thing that definitely pushes me to make more of these videos regarding travel itself is that it's just a great way to keep memories for yourself. So I think just having a video log and just having all those memories is a great way to go back and re-experience things that you are kind of forgetting or missing at the time, and it definitely cheers you up if you're in a bad mood. I always go back and watch my previous videos from Patagonia, Norway, Scotland, even New Zealand at this point, and I'm just like, wow, those trips were awesome, and I hope to make more of those types of memories here on the channel. And so future plans regarding the YouTube channel here is that I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, making videos that I like to make and that you guys like to watch. I would like to keep doing travel videos and things like that, but also make videos like this about myself and just other things that I'm interested in, such as the camping video that I made and things like that. I would also like to do some more cinematic videos in the future, such as my winter in New York one, or my first video that I posted on this channel of finding your adventure, and videos like the one I did as the trailer for New Zealand, and the one that I made for Jen for our anniversary. So hopefully I'll just keep making some travel videos and some cinematic videos, as well as me talking to the camera and getting to know me and getting to know you guys as well. So if you have any ideas for videos, definitely let me know down in the comments. It's still quarantine, so right now I'm kind of stuck inside, but if you have any ideas that you think I would be able to make a video out of, definitely let me know, because I'm only running on a few videos that I have in mind left. So I would love some ideas, because, you know, just being stuck in quarantine, it's hard to get those creative juices flowing. But hopefully all that ends soon, and I hope you guys are all in good health. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. So enough talking. Hopefully this isn't too long. I had, what, 13 questions in there, but I definitely had some long answers. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will talk to you guys in the next video, and that is gonna be with me and Nick Jones, and we'll have a video on each of our channels, and it's gonna be awesome. So definitely subscribe and stay tuned for that, because I think that might be one of my favorite videos that I'm gonna ever make, and it's gonna be awesome. So I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.